What's going on, guys? Antonio here. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me, and let's get into it. All right, so a lot has been going on over the last few weeks. I got married. I actually got married a week ago, uh, and during my honeymoon, we decided to go see Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I saw it. I liked it, but I'm seeing the box office numbers. Um, it cost over $195 million to make the film, and right now it's been out for a few weeks and it's only done 278 million, and that's including the international. So it's a mild hit. They're not going to lose money, or maybe they are going to lose money because I don't know what the break even point is. Like I said, 100 over 195 million to make it. You have to assume they spent at least 25, $30 million on the advertising budget. Some of these bigger movies like Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, they have 150, $200 million advertising budgets. That's why you go into the 7-Eleven and you see like Iron Man on a cup, or you go in remember when that Green Lantern, the Ryan Reynolds movie, they had a endorsement deal with Dr. Pepper. And matter of fact, I was assistant manager at a store, and we had Dr. Pepper stands up there. It had all this Green Lantern stuff, and it was like on candy bars and all this kind of stuff. So um, you have to assume that in addition to that 195 plus, that they spent at least another 25, $30 million to advertise and say, hey, go see Transformers Rise of the Beast. The fact that it's been out a few weeks and it still hadn't cracked over 300 million, that's making me wonder, because remember, Rise of the Beast is a direct sequel to Bumblebee that they released in 2018. 2018, they had done, what was that, Transformers the Last Night, and it didn't quite perform the way they thought it was going to. And so they were like, okay, we gotta retool this thing and fix it. So they did a soft reboot with Bumblebee, which I actually thought was good. What was it? John Cena was in that. I thought the updated Bumblebee movie was decent. I thought Rise of the Beast, continued that, and they set up some stuff. So I want to talk a little about the movie. Was it Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback? I thought they were both fantastic in the movie. I like their characters. At the end of the movie, I'm sorry, like I said, it's been out a couple weeks. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't feel as bad because I have to talk about certain things because that's what the video is about. At the end of the movie, they set up a shared GI Joe Transformers universe. Now, I've been a fan. I love GI Joe and I love Transformers. Those are my GI Joe, Transformers, Thundercats. Those were, Voltron. That's the stuff I grew. He-Man. That's what I grew up with in the 80s. I was born in the 70s. Came out of the 70s and started watching all those cartoons in the 80s. And those, like G.I. Joe and Transformers, those were like two of the big, obviously, like I said, He-Man. You got He-Man, She-Ra. Even watch Jim, because she's truly outrageous. But truly, truly, truly outrageous. Anyway, uh, but they set up Anthony Ramos's character. He got called in to a secret underground office for a job interview. He went in. The guy talked to him for a minute, and he like moved this like secret panel, and this it showed the underground bunkers, like the doors open, and he looked down there and there were all these people down there working, and had all this sophisticated military equipment and the whole thing. And he looked at the business card and it said GI Joe on it. So that should let you know. And they had teased about 9 years ago or so that was their intention, is they wanted to do a universe that had all their properties in it. Now, this is a good thing. I think, because I'm going back to the original G.I. Joe versus the Transformers. This is when both properties were still under license from Marvel Comics, and they had, Larry Hama Larry Hama was writing G.I. Joe, and I think he wrote some of the Transformers stuff as well. But Larry Hama did like incredible G.I. Joe stuff for like what 15, 16 years at least. I mean, well, he's still writing G.I. Joe now because a lot of these other companies, when I think G.I. Joe is still with IDW, but it's been over at Image, it's been everywhere. And a lot of them have been smart enough to be like, hey, Larry Hama, you understand this G.I. Joe stuff, and let's let you do this and do what you do. But I am curious to see how they would do a G.I. Joe Transformers movie, since that's clearly what they were setting up. Number one, if the Transformers movies can't make money like they used to, that's going to be a problem. I would the G.I. Joe movies, the last few G.I. Joe movies have been unsuccessful. The first G.I. Joe movie was a modest hit. Obviously spawned a sequel. They had Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Cobra Commander, and he's kind of he hasn't shown me that he can carry a movie. So, you see him on Third Rock from the Sun, and there's a reason when they did the second G.I. Joe movie, he wasn't even in it. So that's what it is. That's not a shot. It's just being honest. I don't think he's like a star. He's a good actor, but he's not a star. But then they did the second G.I. Joe movie. They had Bruce Willis and The Rock in it. It made some money, but it didn't do for the amount of money they spent. It didn't do what they wanted it to do. So they just said, okay, let's just reboot it, just like they did with Bumblebee. They rebooted, and then they did Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes was horrible. It's horrible. I think it's still streaming on Prime now. It's on one of the streaming. It was on Prime. That's where I watched it, because everybody was like, I know you going to Snake Eyes. And I was like, I don't know. The trailer is not sucking me in, and it didn't make me want to go see it. And then when I saw it, when it ended up on home video very quickly, and so I went on Prime and I watched it, since I have Prime membership. So I watched it and I go, oh yeah, that's why I didn't go see it in the theater. And there's not going to be a Snake Eyes 2. So, with the last of the big Transformers movies not doing well, and then Bumblebee was okay as far as box office. It wasn't a massive hit either. And then now we have Rise of the Beast. They want to continue making money with these Transformers movies. I don't know what they're going to be able to do since they, like I said, now that they are teasing it, we're going to get G.I. Joe Transformers. If they've ruined the franchises, they haven't been able to do big numbers with the G.I. Joe movie. They haven't been able to do those old Jerry Bruckheimer, because those first Transformers movies, they were all doing $500, $600, $700 million. They were blowing up. They were doing well internationally. I did the Fast X video a couple weeks ago. Fast X I remember I thought I'd said it'd do about 750, and I mean it's over 600. It's over 500 million internationally. It's doing, I looked at the reviews in this, and people were like, oh, this is the worst movie. I thought it was a fun movie, but it's doing numbers. It's making its money back, so I can understand why they're going to make like 3 more Fast and Furious movies. So we're going into almost 3 weeks that Transformers Rise of the Beast is out, and it hadn't even cracked 300 million, and a lot of it is factored in for internet. Like I said, the 278 is including the international box office. So the fact that it's with international box office included and it hadn't hit 300 million yet, that's a problem. I don't know if we're gonna. I'm almost thinking they might go, you know what? We need to reboot it again. We need to just start from scratch and just do everything. So I don't know, but there was so much cool stuff that I thought they were trying to set up. Because I've talked about my problems with like the second Transformers movie, the second Jerry Bruckheimer Transformers movie. They had the Constructicons in there, and then they did, I was a big fan of the Combiners, and I was really wanting Devastator, and they did it in a weird way. And Jerry Bruckheimer admitted that he wasn't a Transformers fan. So we had somebody that doesn't really understand Transformers, but he said, "Oh, this is a big media franchise, and I can make a big popcorn summer movie blockbuster with it." So they gave a huge multi-billion-dollar property like Transformers to someone who admitted that he's not a fan. And they did the same thing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, gave it to Jerry Bruckheimer, and he didn't understand it again, and it just didn't resonate with fans. They made the two the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, and now they're going back and doing animated stuff, and it was just I was really disappointed by that. So I saw Jerry Bruckheimer was still listed as an executive. I'm sure they have to pay him, just like, but they brought in new director and all this kind of thing for Rise of the Beast. Like I said, really enjoyed it. I thought they were setting up certain things. There's a part towards the end in Rise of the Beast where the character Mirage, he had been wounded and he was dying, and then he gave Anthony Ramos's character this wristband thing, and it put this suit on him. I almost thought they were setting up Headmasters and Target Masters, which I would have really loved. They had was it Scourge and the Terracons. Now, if you watch the Transformers cartoon, the Terracons were their own separate thing. They didn't work. Scourge was a villain in Transformers the movie, from 1987. You got to touch all that. They did that thing with him, and the Terracons were a combiner unit. There were 5 of them, and they would just turn into the big robot or whatever. So that's what I thought they were doing. But these Terracons were different, and they kind of changed it. I'm waiting on a combiner. I want a real combiner, and I want it to be done the right way. Because the way they tried to do the Constructicons in Transformers 2, I didn't really care for. I want the aerial box. I want the Stunticons. You know what I'm saying? I want, the Predacons, Predaking, all that. I want the Combaticons. I want Bruticus. I want all that stuff, and I want it to be done the right way. And then, of course, I want G.I. Joe versus the Transformers. There's so much cool stuff to play with here, but they got to do it right. If they don't do it right, the fans aren't going to come back. I don't know, but I would love to hear what you guys think. Are we looking forward to a possible G.I. Joe versus the Transformers movie? And if you saw Rise of the Beast, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? And should they just blow, like I said, it hadn't crossed the $300 million plane yet. Should they just blow the thing up and start over for a third time? Get in the comments, let me know what you guys think. I'm out. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please check out my podcast at anchor.fm/Ikari Press, or just type in Ikari Press on your favorite streaming platform today.